What is up, everybody? Brent Abel here. Another episode of the Gold Ball Hunting World Famous Podcast. That's Jeff Jacklich over there. There he is. There he is. I hope you're on YouTube today, because if you're not, you're missing another spectacular display by the Jacklich in his. He's feeling it today. So, anyway,
just a knucklehead. Just a knucklehead talking about tennis.
That's right. That's right. What do we got for guys today? Let's see. We got an interesting topic today. I think before we initially, this is actually take two on episode number 230. Can't remember what it was you said. Anyway, as I go off on some other tangent, I can't even. I mean, it's such a short-term memory thing right now. It's pathetic. Anyway, so it's about the topic we've got today, which is trying to. What is the topic today?
Wait a minute. Quotes.
Yes. Air quotes. Air quotes, Brennan.
Play within yourself.
Oh, that's right. What does that really mean? That's right. Which is kind of heard everywhere around the tennis world.
Yeah.
You got to do this, whether it's on Tennis Channel, whether it's on your Teaching Pros court, or whether it's
it's not just used on a tennis court. It's used universally in all kinds of sports.
True.
Every sport,
That's true. All right, so we're going to break down what does it really mean. Got to play within yourself into three basic parts. We're really on this magic number of three. Recently, I love it. Everyone else apparently loves it, so we're going to stick to it. Before we start with part one, though, guys, what Jeff and I are continuing to offer is a free 15-minute private coaching call. Three of us get on a call. It's private. We don't record it, so we don't distribute it out there to the interwebs and try to embarrass you. It's actually private, kept between us. But the opportunity for you is to get on this call with me and Jeff and talk. Tell us, what's that one thing in your game right now that's just not working out? Can't quite figure out. Could be technique, stroke technique. Could be tactics, strategies. Could be mental. Could be part of the mental thing. Or could be. I know. That in itself stops everybody in their tracks, right? You can hear the brakes going on.
Yeah. Couch time.
Or the fourth thing could be physical. Could be, do you need to drop some of those LBs? Because that's holding you back. Well, we got some ideas on that too. But anyway, go over to goldballhunting.com, drop in a first name and email address, click the button, and you'll get access to our online calendar scheduler where you can pick a date and time that works best for you. Not for us, for you. Boom. So, Jeff, I'm going to tee you up for part one, which is, what does it really mean, quote, quote, you got to play within yourself, unquote. Yeah. Part one, go.
Yeah, well, that's always bantied about, as you watch matches, and somebody in the booth always says it, she's got to really play within herself today if she's going to be effective, if he's going to be effective, and blah, 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 and so the application at the professional level, at the higher levels of the game, the implication is, you have to know what your skill set is. You have to know what your strengths are. You have to know what your weaknesses are. It's not just this narrow focus of what do you do well. You also got to know what you don't do well, because you're going to be constructing points and patterns and things based on the whole package and what your opponent does. So, for us mere mortals down here, playing, national tennis and league tennis and all that. That statement is just so loosey-goosey. It's very tough to bring it in for a landing because, a lot of players just really aren't aware of what their skill set is, what their strengths are, and what their weaknesses are. A lot of times, I've seen it a million times. You've seen it a million times, Brent, where you're out there on the court and the person actually thinks X, Y, or Z is a strength, and you're looking at it going, oh my gosh, you should never touch that tool again.
In so many words.
It can be that it can be that far off the reservation, So that in its first, blush, that's really what that, you got to play within yourself, and if you don't have a bead on that, then it's very difficult to, manage what's going on, which would be kind of the second phase of that, of this question of playing within yourself.
Yeah. Well, look, and I think too often what players do is they, just like you said, the announcer says, today he or she has got to play within himself. And to me, what that, or herself, and what that means is that you can't go out there and think that I've got to play, and within myself could be, and this is what we talk about all the time, is your skill level range, which no one really talks about. I know we're the only two that actually bring this up, but it is the biggest truth about tennis is that there are some points, there's some shots within points. But maybe greater than that, there's some games. Maybe greater than that, there's like maybe 5 or 6 games within a set. And then greater than that is an entire set. Greater than that's an entire match where you play at the very top of your skill level range. Look, if you're playing against someone today who's higher than the very top of your skill level range, what are you going to do?
Right.
You can't tell yourself, well, I've got to play outside of myself, the different than being within myself. I've got to today play outside of myself. And not only that, I have to do it point after point after point. That's kind of your perception, which is like the biggest kind of like, the anvil, the hammer to the anvil, dong, no. First of all, playing within yourself means, well, what's your skill level range? Well, on any given point, I could play here. On any given point, I know I could play down here. All right. What can we do today to actually bring the bottom of that skill level range up so that you're consistently playing at the top of your skill level range against whoever it is? So, and that in itself is like, whoa, that's not easy to do.
No. So, that's like, that's the first blush is do you know do you know your brand as a player?
That's right.
Do you know.
Yeah. So look, well, before we get into blush number 2, let's go with a reminder that guys, Jeff and I are offering you a free private 15-minute coaching call. Get on the phone with us where we get to chat about one thing. 15 minutes may not sound like a lot of time, but if you'll bring one thing rather than, hey guys, I need help with my tennis game. All right, have you got a couple days? But for 15 minutes, if you can really, really narrow down what's one thing that if you solved it right now, it might be the big domino that the other little things might kind of fall wayside. Those other little things might become irrelevant. So you got to bring one thing to that call. The way to get on that call with us, go over to goalballhunting.com, first name, email address, click the button, boom, you get access to our online calendar scheduler where you can cherry pick a date and time. Jeff, what's the second part? In your mind, what's the second part about what does it mean that you got to play within yourself?
It's kind of like understanding the first part, the fallout from not understanding the first part, not understanding your brand, is just such a lack of confidence, while you're playing, because you kind of feel like you have no place to turn. You kind of don't know what to do, because if you don't know what's in your, if you don't know your toolbox and what your best tools are, and how to actually construct points and create patterns that feed that, even if you're playing, a guy or a gal who's better than you. Confidence just goes, right down the drain, because you kind of feel like you got nothing to go with. And if you're really blind to it, then you're swinging for the fences. I've seen guys just like all of a sudden think, well, I've got no chance here, so I better just go for winners. And that's just a really quick trip to the bottom of the drain. That's a race to the bottom, really fast. So for me, it's like the first part is if you don't know who you are, then the second part is it's really a brutal day. So playing within yourself is not even possible, because you're not aware of what that is.
Yeah, well, I think it's a slap in the face, right? So first of all, part one, you don't know what your brand is.
Right.
So you don't know, okay, well, here's my brand. How can I not elevate my brand, but how can I bring up the bottom of my skill level range so that I can actually, how would I today play at the top of my skill level range as consistently as possible? But the second part becomes, if you don't know that, then you get out there and someone starts slapping you around in the face a little bit. Oh, guess what, dude? It's going to be this all day. You don't know what you're doing. And then it becomes, like you say, this helter-skelter mindset of looking in your toolbox and go, okay, well, there's this thing. I haven't done that for 5 years.
Right.
You try that. That doesn't work. And then it just becomes this ugly mess of having no plan, of having no idea, and just, I got to come with the biggest first serve that I've never hit in play before.
Right.
Right. The only first serve I got today is when Brent told me, well, let's see if we can feel how to generate power. Can you hit the back fence over there on a line?
Right.
Well, I can do that today, but he's calling that out. That's so unfair.
Damn it.
What's wrong with this guy? So, totally.
So it's just like I said, it's just a race to the bottom, because and as an opponent, I've played plenty of guys that I recognize that as I'm warming up, kind of see what they do. We start to play a few games, and then I realize, you know what? This is a 4-ball day.
Yeah.
Because his threshold is 2 to 3 balls. That's it.
Right.
And I know if I just need to put in a 4th ball, and he's gonna try and slap a winner.
Right.
And so the better players recognize when somebody doesn't know what that actually means, playing within yourself.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So.
All right, well, let's move on to part 3 of this of today's episode. Before we do it, quick reminder: free private coaching call with me and Jeff, 15 minutes. Go over to goldballhunting.com, drop in a first name and email address, click the button, you'll get access to our online calendar scheduler. Beautiful thing. God, the software they have out now is amazing, amazing. Anyway, you get to cherry pick a date and time that works best for you, and would love to get you on that free 15-minute private coaching call, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Jeff, let's move over on to blush number 3. And blush number 3, part number 3 of today's episode is, what does it really mean, right? What does it really mean?
What is it?
What is it what's the tangible thing of, hey, dude, today against this player or this team, just play within yourself.
Right.
What does that mean? Third part.
What does it mean?
Yeah,
what does it actually mean? Right?
I want to know. Right? I want to know what's inside that noggin of yours.
Right. So for me, it's knowing that I don't have to come out and inflict massive amounts of pain and damage on ball 1, ball 2. I need to come out, and again, I'm very aware of my skill set. I'm very aware of the shots I don't like to have to deal with. I'm very aware of which side I drop shot better off of, what side I'm more comfortable off of. I'm very aware of my movement capabilities at age 59. And so it's this complete understanding of who you are physically, mentally, emotionally, and what you can produce, what's in your toolbox.
Yeah.
And so when you know that, who am I playing today, and what's the tactic, what's the strategy, what's plan A, what's plan B, and maybe even do I have a plan C in my hip pocket? But those plans all have to do with being able to use the tools that you have.
Yeah.
Not reaching for something that you don't have, because that's where you hear the comment, especially on from the booth and the television, when you see a match going south on somebody. And some of the commentators might say, "Oh, he's really got to get back to doing what he does best." I'm not sure that's even going to win the match for him today, but he really needs to kind of reel it in a little bit, because right now he's just spraying balls.
Right.
So for me, the reality of it is kind of what we explained in 1 and 2 is knowing I know my skill set, I know how to construct a point. I may have to construct the point maybe differently today with my favorite tools than normal because of who I'm playing. I may have to tactically shift things around into a strategy that isn't maybe my normal go-to, but this is how it's going to get the job done today. Maybe 9 times out of 10, I am never going to beat this guy straight up.
Yeah.
Because he's just his skill set, blah, blah, blah. My serve isn't big enough to really do enough damage on him for the return, whatever it might be that day. But if I deploy a different tactic, I might be able to pull off 4 out of 10, right? But it's going to take me, it might take me 3 sets each time because I need to get him to a certain place in the match where he's starting to be affected by how good a shape is he in. This is where he starts to get a little tight in a match. His middle of the third set, I've noticed it now. So I got to get him there, right? How do I do that?
Yeah.
Right. And so sometimes playing within yourself is also understanding today might take 3 sets to get the job done. And that doesn't mean you picked the wrong strategy. It just means that may be the only strategy that is going to get you the victory.
Yeah.
And so are you mentally ready to stay out there for that length of time if need be? And that's another aspect of, playing within yourself, just the acceptance of what today is going to take to get the victory.
Yeah. Well, look, and I think this third part for me is it's tennis, getting better as a player, whether it's singles and or doubles, is a series of epiphanies. It's a series of aha moments. And I think that too often what we do is we go out there against someone that we perceive, I got to do more than what I can either actually do, or I got to do more I got to somehow play at the very top of my game today. And you end up forcing it. So whatever the very top of your game is, I'm telling you, if you can get to 90% of that skill level, whatever that number is, if you can play at 90% of that consistently, rather than once in a while getting up to 95% or 100%,
right?
I think what you'll come away with is an epiphany. And I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to win the match, because you may be up against a singles player or a doubles team that on paper is probably going to get you 9.5 out of 10 times. I don't know how the half would work, but
right.
Could be on that 10th match someone pulls something over there and they get hurt, even though you've lost a set and you're down a break. Okay, well, thank you very much. You got to retire. That's the one win. But I just think that even if you play this player in singles or the team in doubles and you've decided that, well, what does it really mean to play within myself today? Well, what that means is I'm not going to go outside of myself, and you actually discipline yourself on that day to look in your toolbox and go, well, as you just said, Jeff, maybe this specific opponent, I need to only do these 2 things.
Right.
Because if I do the other 2 things, which are really kind of what I love to do, he's better. She's better than I am at that. It's not going to work out. So I'm going to find, not go crazy off the reservation with something different. And even if you don't win that match, my guess, my hunch is that you will play that opponent much closer than you ever did before. And you'll come away with an epiphany. And you go, oh, aha, I get it. Right. I don't have to play outside of myself to be competitive. I don't have to do that. And there's this discipline that, first of all, you have to believe in that. And then you have to trust it within the match. And just like you said, it might take 7-5 or 7-6 in the third. It just might be that this opponent, your style on that day, hey, you got to bring it for, it could be 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's our 3 takes on, and that's a great topic. You were the one that actually came up with this today. Got to play within yourself. So, guys, listen, thanks for hanging out with us today. Just a quick reminder, Jeff and I are offering a free 15-minute, could be 10-minute, could be 17 minutes. Kind of depends. What's on your mind? What's that one thing you cannot figure out right now in your tennis game? Could be technique, could be tactics, could be mental, could be physical. What's that one thing that Jeff and I could help you solve that, or at least put you on the path to getting the result you want? Oh boy, it could be kind of cool. It could be kind of cool.
Could be magic.
Yes. So anyway, go over to goldballhunting.com, drop in a first name and email address, click the button, and you'll get access to our calendar where you can pick a date and time that works best for you. Jeff, what do we want fine folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below. If you're on Stitcher, if you're on iTunes, rate and review, please.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeff, we're doing this again tomorrow.
I can't wait.